Look at you, you're watching me. Hey everybody, it's Cory Martin here with Cory Martin Real Estate and the Gable and Grace Brokerage. I'm here with Pablo at AMC Mortgage, and we had a few questions we wanted to talk about. So I'm doing a video a day in the month of July, and I wanted to get the perspective of a lender and mortgage company as far as what goes on in the mortgage process. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was basically, let's go over an offer, a whole process of buying a house from start to finish.
Yes. So we here at AMC Mortgage, hi by the way, my name is Pablo Palacios. Cory did a great job already introducing me, but I like to do it as well. First and foremost, what we like to do here at AMC is we like to make it as easy as possible for everyone. So we like to break everything down in the mortgage process into 6 steps. Those 6 steps we'll go over here just a little bit, and then I believe we'll probably go here in just the next couple of weeks over more specific products.
That's right.
So first and foremost, what we start, number 1 is going to be your pre-qual.
Okay.
And with this pre-qual, what it does is it tells us here at AMC that you are pre-qualified to purchase a home. I know we had spoken a little bit off camera, and people ask, what's the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval?
Right.
What a pre-qualification is it's going to be your application and a couple of tidbits about you that we take into consideration for the loan. A pre-approval is going to be where you go through the underwriting process at the very beginning, and you know that the only thing that's going to be contingent will be the home itself.
So a pre-approval, I've already given you all my documents, my W-2s, my last year's taxes, all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
So your pre-qualification, you'll pretty much only have, probably just your last month's pay stubs and maybe, a month's worth of bank statements. We'll get into a little bit more later on about everything that we need, but it's pretty much just the bare bones on your pre-qualification, and on your pre-approval, you've gone through the whole shebang.
So you can get someone pre-approved without a contract on a particular house?
Correct.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
What's next?
The second thing is going to be your offers, and that's been the fun ones right now.
Woohoo!
That's where Cory over here gets to enjoy it and got
That's
to kind of play for you on that part.
We're going to go over that in another video too. I wanted to touch the base on all the different ways a buyer can set themselves apart to get their contract accepted. That's another time though.
Yeah, perfect. Third is going to be your contract, and that's whenever it's accepted. This is kind of where everybody gets excited, hey, we're getting there, but that's whenever we kind of step in and take over. From that time, you're going to get your appraisal ordered, you're going to start getting all these documents requested from us, so we can go ahead and get you kind of going on that part. From there, it's kind of pretty much what Cory takes into place, your TRRs, your everything else. I won't speak too much into that because he's the expert on that. I just deal with the docs on the backside. After that, when your appraisal does come in and we have value, that's whenever you start going into your 5th step, which is your underwriting. That's where we're going to start getting all the rest of the documents, cleaning up the file, and making sure that we're good to go for closing.
Awesome. Before we jump too far ahead, I wanted to ask you about an appraisal.
All right.
All right, so I had a quick question about appraisals. What would be some reasons why you would not need an appraisal?
Okay. Well, there are appraisal waivers that are out there, and it depends on the property itself and certain other guidelines. But we could go ahead and move forward without the appraisal, giving the borrower's consent, of course, and that would just kind of speed up the process a little bit for them, knowing that the house is going to be at the value that is going to be on the contract price to give everybody that relief.
I like it. So what's next after the appraisal?
Okay.
Appraisal report comes back in, everybody's happy. Now what?
So now it goes into the final underwriting. This means
awesome.
that everything else kind of gets put into play. With final underwriting, this is the part where everybody feels like we're getting kind of documents at the last second. It's not. We just have to make sure that we get updated documents. COVID has been fun for everyone. So because of that, there are extra guidelines that kind of get put into place. So that's the part where we have to kind of hammer down and get everything else locked down.
So speaking of underwriting, can you give me a few reasons why, let's say we're a week away from closing. We've been under contract for over a month, 45-day close. Why would something a week before closing not get approved?
Okay. Well, the first thing is going to be assets. Assets, assets, assets. Everybody always wants to know where the money is coming from before closing. That's kind of your biggest holdup, and people transferring money, gift funds, some of those things are going to be kind of big things. Second is going to be credit. We have sometimes people that might think they might buy furniture prior to moving into the house.
Yes.
We want to make sure that doesn't happen. We will save all purchases. Matter of fact, I even kind of joke around and say, hey, I will drive you to the furniture store the minute we sign documents at closing. And last is employment. COVID kind of stopped us a little bit when it comes to that, but that's just kind of basic. Make sure you don't quit your job the day before closing or the day of closing, because we do have to do those verifications the day of.
So speaking of day of, when is the last time you look at somebody's file?
So we look to the day of. Matter of fact, the night before, we're making sure that we do all verifications. Like I said, COVID has made us kind of call and make sure that everything else is kind of the same path that we've gone on. So I tell everybody, don't change anything until we are at the signing table and just kind of write those last papers.
And we all get that wonderful email that says we are clear to close. Okay, so underwriting came back in, everything's clear to close. Tell me what that means and where do you go from there?
Yeah, so when you do your clear to close, that means that everything's been done, everything's been vetted, appraisal's in, and what we do at that point in time is we deliver your CD, which is your closing disclosure. That we deliver 3 days prior to closing, business days prior to closing, and it tells you your loan specifics, your loan amount, what your payment is, what your escrow is going to be, or if you don't even escrow, depending on areas.
Right.
So you have 3 days to review everything prior to closing.
Is Saturday considered a business day?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that right there is a lender's perspective of what happens from step 1 to step 6, basically. 6 major steps, 6 milestones, as they call it in the lending industry, of what happens from start to finish of a lending process. I like it, man. It's good stuff.
Oh, man,